So I want to continue the discussion today about right intention. There's a Tibetan saying that goes, everything rests on the tip of motivation. I love this phrase. And it speaks to the topic of intention. It asks in real time, at any given time, what's driving our behavior? Is it a force of good or not so good? Do we know the direction that we want to go in? And in this particular moment, do we know what is driving us to action? Is it coming from goodwill or ill will? From resistance, from rage? Even if rightly so, do we know what we are looking and speaking and acting out of? No judgment. But can you feel the push? Is it for harm or for good? Can you feel the me that is invested in it? Usually we know what our heart is up to, but sometimes we don't. We don't fully notice the mixed motivations when we ask our partner or colleague or a person on the phone a question. Of course, it's confusing to know who's steering the boat if we're angry and we're hurt, and it's with a dear friend who we're close to. Gosh, it's confusing and it's extremely uncomfortable. And likely mindfulness is not in the driver's seat. How am I in real time relating to that? Do I see that complicated mess that I'm feeling? Can I bear witness to that mess that I'm feeling? And the mess that's going on between us? Oh my goodness. And how can that mess be best related to? This is what right intention speaks to. What is the attitude of heart, of attention, of body? What is the driving force behind what we're thinking, speaking, and doing? If we are guided by the North Star, by right view of the practice towards less suffering, then when unhelpfulness arises, when harm arises, we're going to want to drop it. We're going to want to let it go. We're going to want to refrain, contain, renounce as quickly as possible. If it's helpful, if it's joyful, if it's easeful, we're going to want to keep it around. And if friendliness is not around, well, we're going to want to bring that around. And if suffering happens to be here right now before me, well, we're going to want to bring around friendly, caring attention so that it can empathetically resonate with what's happening and offer the care that is needed. You see, if we're practicing mindfulness meditation, we are motivated to relieve suffering and move in the direction of more ease of well-being. But how? That is the question. And that is the question that right intention answers. We learn how to let go of what is unhelpful, how to make room for what is out of friendliness, and how to offer care for what hurts out of compassion. But right intention, which is often translated as right thought or right resolve, for me, fails to capture the doing aspect. It fails to capture the enacting of that thought. It fails to capture the heart, the motivation behind the intention that is driving the thinking and the saying and the doing. It isn't just about how we think. It's about what we say and do and think and feel. It's the heart that is driving the actions. So what is motivating the heart? Revenge? Fear? Anxiety? Lack of motivation or experience? Is the action being motivated by kindness or understanding? And the ability to sense outside of our own little bubble and into somebody else's world or shoes. With what heart do you do anything? With what heart does the heart-mind orient around right now in real time? Check, and check frequently. At any given moment, we can deliberately shift and loosen our view, that self-view, and move it towards a posture of friendly, caring attention that's available to us if we can see it. At any given moment, we can use that posture of friendly, caring attention to notice what is happening, to notice if it's harmful or if it's helpful, or we're not sure yet. And so we want to monitor and carefully watch and keep gently resonating, empathetically resonating, so we can be caringly responsive to what's happening. This is getting at intention. This is getting at the heart of the matter. Who's steering the car, the boat, the vehicle? And are you going in the direction you say you want to go in? Well, when it comes to suffering and to the path that leads out of it, we learn to let go. We learn to be friendly, and we learn to care about the suffering that is here before us. What are the supports that will move us in that direction? This is what's missing in that translation of right thought and right resolve. This is also what is so desperately needed when living in cultures that separate the heart from the mind, from the body, right? We have to figure out our starting point and begin there. With what attitude or posture of heart is needed now to attend wisely? If a baby is crying, we're going to soothe it, right? We're going to try to help it to feel more comfortable and settle back into ease of well-being. If I feel threatened, I'm going to do my best to get to safety as quickly as possible. If I'm about to cast judgment, well, maybe, if mindfulness is present, or I can bring it forth, I might be able to avert the saying of that judgment. I might be able to hold my tongue or let go of the anger. I might be able to let go of the argument, drop the conversation, assess the proximity that's needed to feel safe and stay aware. This is renunciation. It doesn't seem like that, but we're learning how to let go of what's harmful, learning how to wisely relate to what's harmful. If I notice that I'm unhappy, if mindfulness is present or it can be brought forth, well, I'm going to do my best to cheer myself up. Well, just as a friend would. If I need to be more okay with where I am, I'm just going to try to stay in a friendly, receptive posture. In general, I want to know how to hang out in that friendly posture, because that actually is restorative for me. And if I see myself or I see someone else in pain, again, if mindfulness is present or can be brought forth, if I can adjust out of Susan's view and into this view of mindfulness, well, then I'm going to stop and pause long enough to see and to witness with kind eyes how it feels in here, and discern with tender, loving care what is needed to restore balance. Right intention suggests that these are the moves that help us steer the course. Letting go of what is unhelpful, making room for what is here in a friendly way, and offering care for what hurts. 3 components: renunciation, metta, and compassion. That's how it's classically formulated. But these 3 moves navigate us through the minefields of life's joys and sorrows. What are we to do when we're faced with pain? When we're observing others' cruelty on the screen, in the news, in our mind? When upsetting thoughts are arising repeatedly in our meditation? What do we do? Really, in that moment, can we figure out the best way to position ourselves so that we don't cause more trouble? Should I let go? Should I find something to say? Should I move away? Should I stay with it? Should I go closer? Should I try to offer something? What makes sense? What's possible? We're beginning to discern that. So right intention is very practical. It's very pragmatic. It's, do we know how to be with what is before us? That means also, do we have an idea of what we can handle and how to keep our eye on what it is that's going on? And can we begin to just like use these little questions to help steer us, help us stay on the path that the North Star is trying to guide us in? So yes, discernment is very much about thinking, very much, but not just thoughts. It's about feeling and connecting it to those thoughts, discerning from that careful feeling consideration. The heart senses what it needs to do. I'm scared, I need to back away, it's too much for me. Or you know what, I can stay here for a little while. I can contain it just for a little while, and then I'm going to back away. Mindfulness discerns, do I need to stand with this? Do I need to just make room? Because I can't make this go away any faster. How can I just make room for what's here? And then out of kindness, out of care and compassion, mindfulness notices the suffering, the pain that's really going on in the body and says, well, let's just make a little subtle micro adjustment in the posture itself, in the physical posture, just to see if we can relieve that pain. Or let's take a slightly bigger than usual breath and open it up inside and see if on that exhalation we can soften and let go of whatever attention is lingering. These are the moves of right intention. This is what we're learning. These little moves of steering out of suffering and toward well-being, caring for what's really here. We can do this. We can do this. This is what the Buddha said again and again. I wouldn't teach you this if you couldn't do it, if it wasn't possible.